The incredible life story of Lady Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her. Lady Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, was the first daughter of the great Prophet of Islam, a companion of the Prophet. Her husband was captured in the Battle of Badr. She was the daughter of the Prophet who, after her conversion to Islam, became forbidden for her husband. She was the only daughter of the Prophet whose grave was revealed to the world with a single prayer from the Prophet. She was also the only companion who, when dust was thrown on the Prophet's face, was there beside him. Lady Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, was born when the Messenger of Allah was still in Mecca, at the age of 35 years after his marriage to Lady Khadija. After the birth of their first child, Qasim, the birth of Zaynab was a source of joy and delight in the Prophet's house. The wet nurse who was assigned to nurse this newborn was Salma Khatun, and there was great excitement in the household of the Prophet. The family eagerly awaited whether the newborn would be a boy or a girl. Shortly after, a daughter was born, and the women in Lady Khadija's home were saddened. This news was difficult to share with others because, in the time of ignorance, having a daughter was not valued by the Arabs. At that time, if an Arab was told that he had a daughter, he would feel sorrow and his face would change color. But when Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, was born, there was no sorrow. On the contrary, when the Messenger of Allah heard the news, he was greatly pleased. He thanked the one who brought him the news of the birth of his daughter. The Prophet had a naturally beautiful character, and he did not accept any of the negative traits of the pre-Islamic era. He despised things like drinking alcohol, gambling, and burying daughters alive. The Prophet was deeply concerned about how to abolish these harmful traditions in society. So, after the birth of his daughter Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, he was not distressed. He thanked Allah and proudly declared, "I am the father of a daughter." He returned home joyfully, smiling, embraced his newborn daughter, and named her Zaynab. Lady Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, grew up day by day, bringing happiness to her household. The Prophet loved her dearly, treating her with kindness and affection. By this time, the Prophet's son Qasim had passed away. Time passed quickly, and Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, was growing up swiftly. By the time she was 10, she played the role of an elder sister to her younger siblings, helping her mother with the household duties. Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, was of marriageable age. Her cousin, Abu Alas ibn al-Rabi, who was the same age as her, frequently visited their home. He was enchanted by her politeness, charm, and maturity. Lady Khadija, her aunt, loved her very much and noticed that her cousin had a special interest in Zaynab. For a marriage to be happy, there had to be love and mutual affection. Abu Alas was a trustworthy and upright merchant who had earned the trust of everyone around him. He used to travel to areas such as Syria and Yemen for business, and whenever he returned, he would bring gifts for his aunt and her children. Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, was pleased with his gifts and attention. One day, Abu Alas spoke to his aunt, Lady Khadija, about his desire to marry Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her. Lady Khadija informed the Prophet about this. The Prophet asked her to discuss it with Zaynab before making a decision, as he did not want to respond without her input. When Lady Khadija found the opportunity, she spoke to her daughter, saying, "Zaynab, your cousin has proposed to me. What is your opinion?" Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, remained silent, and her silence was taken as consent. The marriage preparations began, and within a short time their wedding took place. The camels were sacrificed and a feast was held. The Prophet and his family escorted Zaynab to her new home and stayed there for a while before leaving her to settle in. During this time, Abu Alas became the head of his own family, and he loved Zaynab deeply. When he went on business trips, Zaynab would visit her father's house and stay there until he returned, helping her mother with the household chores. One time, while Zaynab was at her father's house during one of Abu Alas's business trips, she witnessed a profound change in her father's condition. Her father had received the first revelation from Gabriel, in the cave of Hira and returned home. Zaynab, surprised, asked her mother what had happened. Lady Khadija explained that her father had received a divine responsibility and that Jibril had appeared to him, declaring that he was the final prophet and that Islam was the final religion. Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, said to her mother, "I believe in what you have believed." She then recited the Shahida, declaring her faith in Islam, and became one of the first Muslims. Lady Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, worked tirelessly for the spread of Islam, striving to support the Prophet. One time, when the Prophet was in Mecca, the disbelievers threw dirt at him, and Lady Zaynab rushed to clean her father's face, comforting him. Abu Alas, upon hearing about the new religion, returned to Mecca and asked Zaynab if her father had become a prophet. Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, confirmed it and explained that her father was an honest and trustworthy man, known for his integrity. Even some of Abu al-Az's relatives, like Uthman and Zubair, had become Muslims. Zaynab asked her husband if he would also believe, but he hesitated. He respected the Prophet but did not want to be seen as abandoning his ancestors' religion just to please his wife. Despite the pressure from the disbelievers to divorce Zaynab, Abu al-Az refused. He loved his wife and rejected their demands. However, he did not allow her to migrate to Medina. Lady Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, was very distressed by the separation from her family. She was upset that her husband was still a disbeliever but had no choice but to remain patient, believing that through patience she would overcome these trials. When the Muslims' numbers increased, the disbelievers decided to persecute the Prophet and the Muslims. Lady Zaynab was saddened to hear this, but as the number of Muslims continued to grow, she remained steadfast. When the Prophet and other Muslims migrated to Medina, Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, was left behind in Mecca because her husband did not allow her to leave. Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, experienced much hardship and sorrow due to this separation but remained patient and trusted in Allah's plan. Allah was watching over her, and she knew that with patience she would eventually be reunited with her family. Abu al-Az was captured in the Battle of Badr, and after the battle, the Muslims won, thanks to divine support. The Prophet allowed his companions to free the prisoners in exchange for ransom. Abu al-Az sent a message to Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, in Mecca, and she sent some money along with her mother's necklace as ransom. The Prophet, upon receiving the ransom, was deeply moved and sorrowful. He turned to his companions and asked if they would allow him to return the necklace to Abu al-Az, as it was a memento of Lady Khadija. The Prophet also declared that it was forbidden for Muslim women to remain married to disbelieving men, and the necklace was returned to Abu al-Az with the promise that he would send Zaynab to Medina. Abu al-Az kept his word, and when he returned to Mecca, he sent his wife to Medina, where she was reunited with her family. Before leaving, Lady Zaynab visited her mother's grave, prayed, and said her farewells with tears in her eyes. She was accompanied by her daughter, Ummama, and as they left Mecca, they were handed over to Zayd ibn Haritha, the Prophet's companion. Zaynab, may Allah be pleased with her, left her home with her husband's love and memories in her heart, embarking on a new chapter in Medina.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.